Normally with BEVs, the best thing to do is to make a BEV, battery electric vehicle, from the ground up. In other words, don't take a petrol or diesel formed car and then try and adapt it to being a full BEV. But then BMW's come along more recently and taken the 4 Series and made it into that. This is the BMW i4. I know it's in a kind of an unusual grey colour. It's available in different colours. This colour, I'm not sure suits the car so well, but realistically, this is beautiful. Look at this car. It's so sharp, so angular, so beautifully formed across the front. Has that new grille as well on the front of it. It just looks brilliant in its stance, but so does the 4 Series. Now, under this bonnet is a big plastic thing, and under that is the gubbins that runs air conditioners, the heating controls, whatever else is in there too. So the engine is gone, but there is an engine bay, and the problem here BMW is there's no front trunk, as they call frunk or whatever they want to call it, or a space to put things in here. So all of your cables and stuff have to go in the boot. It would have been nice to leave a space there just for the cables even as it is, but tell you what, let's just not moan about that because the car drives so well. But we'll get to drive in a minute. Let's have a look on the inside, see what actually you get different from a 4 Series. So apart from the frameless doors, which are quite nice, see that's on the 4 Series as well, you also get a good European thud, is what I call that these days. Then you have this screen, so everything's been replaced with these 2 screens which are joined up in a slight curve to the whole thing. Very, very attractive. The rest then looks fairly traditional down here. The gear shift and the start button is blue because it's an I, and then you have another storage bin in here. You've got a transmission tunnel down the centre, which is not necessary, BMW. Why have you got that? I don't know why you didn't get rid of that. It doesn't need to be there. Even, I know people, purists, will probably want something like that, but I don't. Steering wheel, beautifully built as always. BMW still kind of king of steering wheels as far as I can see. Heads-up displays here as well. Now, the BMW iDrive, I see some people having a problem with BMW iDrive. I don't. I think it's really good. I don't really see anything wrong with this new iDrive version. It's got a big screen. It's got different parts you can touch and move about. Really, you only see what you need to see on it if you want to do that. You have your door, click it, and it shows the door open, the tyre pressure is there. Home, you go back out of that. You want to see the weather, you click the weather thing, it opens up the weather wider on the screen in front of you. It's all very straightforward. I mean, iDrive 8 is better than iDrive 7. I'm sorry if anyone disagrees with that, that's just hard luck. This is not complicated at all. It's a great big speedo in the middle of it. Then you have kilometers an hour on the outside as well, and e-power, so it shows you power on the screen there in front. And after that, you've got all the controls you need. Now, one problem I do have is that they've removed. There's no longer a knob down here or anything to help you with. It's all on this little touchscreen. It does pretty much fall to hand, but there's a lot of stabbing the screen. You're looking away from stuff. You're stabbing away at things here. I'm not sure about that, but really, iDrive 8 is pretty much a graduation of what we've had from iDrive 7, mixed with maybe a little bit of what Tesla does or Porsche does. Instead of having a long vertical screen, you got a long wide screen, which is kind of a nice way of showing the car off. And everything is there, everything's touching, like right here, I've got a little list of things on the side. I just go media, and I'm into the media stuff, and it's all there. And then you have the actual physical button down here, but I just wish they'd keep the heating controls here in the center. Would have been just a nice little touch. Let's have a look at the back seat as well, see what it's like. Front seat, 10 out of 10. I have to say, I like this. I would like driving this. I think it's one of those cars that you would get to drive, to be the driver, not to sit in the passenger seat. Irish woman. I've put on my phone that tells me 33 or 97. So the back seat, or the back door, isn't very big, and the opening here isn't very wide. So if you have kids and trying to do the whole thing in the back seat, maybe it's not the most practical car, but neither is the 4 Series. So settling in, have some room, bit of plastic here in front of me as well to protect the knees, 2 USB-C ports and a little bit of control over the temperature for the rear cabin. But you do have a transmission tunnel that's unnecessary, and there is a nice armrest in the centre here with 2 cup holders in it as well, but no load through function, so I can't use this, I don't think. Oh, I can. It's the whole lot comes down. You can pull the whole thing down. There's no kind of porthole in it. It's the whole lot or nothing. Comfort-wise, I don't think you'd get 3 people in the back of this car, if I'm honest with you. You get 2 reasonably comfortable into the back seat, but I don't think you would get 3 back here. It's a back seat of an electric car. It could have been nicer without the transmission tunnel. I mean, there's no transmission, like, you need a transmission. Let's go for a spin. So when you drive off, there is a sound as it goes along. The seating position is just so. I can't really put my finger on it, just why it's such a good car to drive. I would compare this with the Porsche Taycan easily. And that's one of my favourites of electric cars to drive. All I have to do is find a way out of here now. Doesn't that make just a gorgeous noise, doesn't it? Just like very satisfactory noise. But seating position is very good. I feel like I'm very directly connected to that steering wheel. Suspension is perfect. There's no feeling of wallowiness or any sort of feeling of weight under you. You don't feel like you're carrying around a pile of batteries underneath there as well. Speaking of which, range of this car, it even says here on the dashboard in front of me right now. Hang on, just make sure I'm going the right way. I think I'm going the right way. It says 360 kilometers at 94% battery. Obviously, that's dependent on the last person who drove this car, and I don't know who drove it last, I haven't a clue, or they could have been rallying this yoke up the road, or just driving it nice and gently like I am right now. Oh, there's a lovely sound. You see, why do I go on about sound? The sound of an engine, lads, is, to me, is probably more important than the performance of a car. And that may seem like a big statement, but you could put me in a very slow-moving car from 1978, an MG, some old yoke, you know what I mean? And it'll go 30 miles an hour, max. But the noise in the car makes you feel like you're going warp speed because the sound, you're so connected to the noise of the car. We've spent the last couple of decades disconnecting ourselves from the sound and the emotion of driving while trying to make it feel like it's still there. And now electric cars have gone another step on to disconnect us entirely from the car, you know, to get away from that car feeling completely. They're doing a bit of work down in Mount Juliet. Listen, if you're coming on to Mount Juliet, just know that I've watched these things all be built. We go out on the road now. So we're going to look at performance next for the buzz of it, right? So we're going to go this way, because I know that road is nice and wide up that way. Here we go. That is like warp speed. Now, I know Hans Zimmer had a hand in making the noises that electric cars make from, and he's one of my favourite composers of all time, movie composers. Lads, when I want to wind down a bit, I listen to a movie soundtrack. And I know Hans Zimmer makes one of the best movie soundtracks, but listen to that. And this is the 40 version, this is even the 50 version. The 50 version gets X-Drive, 4-wheel drive. This is rear-wheel drive. And it zooms along. It's so sharp and turny. It behaves so well. It's so well-mannered on the road. That is absolutely awesome. I am blown away by the performance and handling. It handles, it's as pointy as the Porsche Taycan, but as responsive in its acceleration as something like a Model S, you know, something like instant torque, instant power down. The throttle response is, it's like warp speed coming on, it really is, and that sound really excites the body as well. The body and the adrenaline starts to flow, and I don't even think I'm in like a sport mode or nothing. I'm just, I'm just in comfort mode. I don't think I'm in sports or anything. That is awesome, and the best suspension on the market today is in this car. That road out there has weird old ruts and bumps and lumps, and I can see them. I can see the ruts on the road. I can't feel any of that. Absolutely outstanding BMW. And let this Mercedes pass by and the Volkswagen, then I'm going to catch them up in 2.7 seconds. There they go. They're gone. Look, they're gone off around the corner. Bye. No. They're right there again. That's awesome. I love that sound. Absolutely brilliant noise. Good performance. There's a nice pressure and it feels like you're being shoved into the seat. Just a beautiful cabin and cockpit. Perfect seat position. I want one. I want one. It's brilliant. Hey, listen, if you watch this far in, I deserve a subscription, right? You know, if you're this far in, please hit the subscribe button. It's very important. It helps the channel out a hell of a lot when you do that. Hopefully you'll be able to find me on TikTok as well, on Instagram and on Twitter and Facebook and all kinds of places you want to find me out there. Just Google Bob Flavin and you'll find all the local places you can find me. If you want to support the channel, you can. There's a list of links down below. I'd love you to do that. Patreon is there, PayPal is there. You can do channel memberships if you want as well. That's okay by me. But if you like this kind of video, then please hit the subscribe button because it's very important that we get a lot of subscribers, because that's how YouTube works. Once you reach over 100,000, you can start changing the conversation and maybe I can do more things on YouTube that I couldn't do before. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. And until the next time, I'll see you on the far side.